Hello everyone. Welcome back. We are back with the Cloud Lunch and Learn sessions after our amazing break for the pretty much a summer holiday. I hope you enjoyed your holiday and you had a chance to recharge the batteries. And that means we are back for the first session after the summer holidays, and it's time to resume and return to our learning journey about clouds. This week we have a special guest, Gaurav, that is going to talk us. It's going to explain us about his journey to adopt and pretty much embrace the cloud transformation. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring Gaurav to us. Hi, Gaurav, how are you doing?
Hey, thank you, Hugo. Thanks for inviting me for this wonderful place to be. I hope you all are able to hear me properly.
All good, all good. Um,
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
I hope I'm pronouncing correctly your name. Is that correct? So Gaurav?
Yep, you are taking it very right here.
Perfect. Amazing. I always like to verify that to be sure that I'm pronouncing correctly the people's names.
Yep.
Um, See, today it's definitely a really special session that you are going to deliver to us, especially for those organizations that are considering to adopt clouds. So tell me, is this session based on your experience related to adopting cloud and transforming?
Yeah. So definitely. So I am in this industry for the software development industry for past 20 years. Okay. So I have a comprehensive experience and working with some of the very big organizations within the United States. And what I want, and I have seen the journey for how the big enterprises are moving from on-prem to the cloud, or from one cloud provider to another cloud provider, and what is the architectural design they have taken, and how they are getting successful in this journey, and the challenges as well. Okay, because nothing will come like it's not a something that, hey, you take a EC2 instance and you are done. So I will be explaining what are the strategies we can follow, what are the challenges we have, what are the things it is required before even going to the cloud. Okay, is the cloud is the right approach for you, or what kind of cloud infrastructure we should be following, like is it a public cloud you can go, or you go to a hybrid cloud, or whatsoever. So these kind of things I will be talking, but these are very real time examples. These are very things which are in production, which are basically real. So these are the things which I'm going to talk about.
Perfect. Okay, so without further ado, if you are happy, I can enable your slides and you can take over.
Sure.
Perfect. So let me just enable your slides and I'll be in the backstage. So for everyone, before we get started, as usual, as you know, feel free to raise your questions and share your questions in the chat. If you or even your comments, let us know where are you connecting from. Um, Here, Ireland, Gaurav, we are connecting us from United States. Is that correct?
Yes, I am in Chicago right now, so I will be providing my updates as well. So I am in Chicago, beautiful city. If no one has came here, please come here during the summer. It's a nice place.
Perfect. As you can see here, the nature of Cloud Launch and Run is exactly this. So it's connecting people worldwide from everywhere, and that's the beauty of this thing. And we share knowledge and share experience. So without further ado, if you have any questions, feel free to share your questions in the chat. We'll be covering the questions. Gaurav, do you prefer to cover the questions at the end, or do you want me to interrupt you along the way and share the questions with you?
It all depends actually. If it is a very if the questions are like too pressing, or like everyone is asking that question, we can get interrupted,
Okay.
or you guys can we can cover it at the last, or you guys can also send me an email, or on my LinkedIn profile. I would be happy to answer those questions.
Sounds good. All right, without further ado, the stage is all yours, Gaurav.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Hugo. So yeah, welcome everyone in this cloud lunch and learn thing. Today we are going to talk about how the cloud transformation journey takes place into the big organizations. Uh, uh, It is a comprehensive guide for you to move from on-premises infrastructure to the public cloud. We are going to talk about how, why, and what are the best practices we can take. Um, Being, as I said earlier, this is my introduction. This is me. I'm playing a role of vice president, group application manager with one of the largest banks here in United States. I am leading the platform engineering team as well. I have more than 20 years experience into the design, development, architecture, and the management as well. uh, Coding is my passion, and emancipating knowledge and giving to the society is also some of the thing which I really love. This is what I look like here, and these are some of my public profile. If you want to learn something from me, I have some D-Zone articles, I have some Medium articles, some GitHub thing. I am doing it. If you want to get a kind of a mentorship from me, you can use the ADP list, and some of the papers I have uh, already sent. These are the Google Scholar link. You can just go there and basically read about the journals which I have done. So without further delay, let's go to the cloud migration. And now, and I have structured this whole presentation in such a way that uh, you can be a zero or you can be a hero, but but it should cater each and everyone. So the target audience could be our scrum masters, POs, low level engineers, high level engineers, okay, architects, managers. So this is all, it is covering the comprehensive set of people. So what is first of all, what is cloud migration? Why it is required? Okay, so cloud migration is a technique to basically move your digital assets, applications, services, resources into from on premises, which is like VM based application or like server based within your company premises, to move it to the different cloud computing environment, the environment which is highly scalable, or I would say infinitely scalable and highly resilient. Cloud migration doesn't mean to move from on-prem to the cloud. Cloud migration is something you are moving from one cloud provider to another cloud provider, which we call it as the cloud to cloud migration. It has a numerous benefits. The benefits which I am seeing is the flexibilities, the scalabilities, the cost saving, and definitely the security. Okay, I will give you some of the examples. When the Log4j has happened 2 3 years ago, cloud migration, because our application were in cloud, we were able to switch the things very quickly. So that is one of the feature, I would say. The enhanced security is one of the key feature to move towards the cloud migration. it, so the cloud migration requires some sort of steps actually, and which I'm going to talk into the detail. But the furthermore, the steps are planning, sometimes re-architecturing, optimizing your workloads, okay, and to to function those things into the cloud environment. And the migration also require the minimal disruption to the business, because think in this way: your customer don't even know you are running in the cloud or you are running on prem. So for the customer, it has to be a very seamless experience, and it should be adhering, as I said, it should be adhering with the compliance, whether you are in the banking industry or the finance industry, or you are into the healthcare like HIPAA and all. So it has to follow the compliance requirements as well. So this is what the cloud migration looks like. We have we have mostly three multi clouds, like one is AWS, Azure, GCP. There are other Oracle clouds as well. Many organizations are like coming up, but the mostly the public infrastructure, the public clouds are AWS, Azure, GCP. Now the question will come up from the business side. why to migrate to cloud, okay? And what are the key considerations we have to take? So why to migrate to cloud? You can anytime tell to your business partners or the senior management that, hey, cloud is giving us the scalability, and I would say it call it infinite scalability. What in the on-prem infrastructure you can only do the vertical scaling. It means you can add more memory, more CPU, but that doesn't suffice sometimes, okay? I would say most of the times the horizontal scaling is something you require according to your load changes, okay? And horizontal scaling means you are spinning up a whole new resource so that it can cater the load. So I think scalability is one of the prime factor you require the cloud migration. The second one is accessibility. Now we all know that we are every organization is like across the border, right? It is not just USA or not just UK or not just South East Asia. It is everywhere. You want to deploy your applications to basically cater all of your customers. So cloud environments provide the access to basically deploy your applications across the globe, and it can be it is a it you will provide the seamless experience to your to your customers when you are deploying the applications into the cloud. Cost of effectiveness, definitely. So think again, if you are creating data centers and each and every geographies, how much cost it is. You require people, you require vendors, you require infrastructure like buildings and those kind of things. Using the cloud, leveraging the cloud infrastructure will you provide you the cost effectiveness, and in like less cost you can go beyond the country boundaries. And the last one, not the last, I would say, last not the least, but is it is the innovation. So it will provide, the cloud is providing you some sort of offerings like artificial intelligence. AI is like, okay, you guys may be using GitHub Copilot. I was in one of the session yesterday. They are using test generation based upon the Google Cloud. Okay, like everything is like over the AI. These kind of things can only be achieved by moving towards the cloud, because your on-prem infrastructure may not be capable of using that type of compute or that type of artificial intelligence. So these are the these are the why behind you should migrate to cloud. Now some of the things, and this is a question asked to me very often from the people, that what are the key consideration, because you just cannot go to the cloud, especially for the larger enterprises, because you have legacy things, you have customers, you have mental boundaries as well. uh, and sometimes business is not ready, sometimes your compliance is not even ready. So some of the considerations we should do before we are moving towards the cloud. So first one is accessing the current infrastructure. You should see that what is your current infrastructure look like. Is it, if I move to cloud, is it going to cater my customers good? Is it or if I'm not going to the cloud, what are the things I'm going to miss? You need to assess that these kind of things. uh, Second one is defining the business goals, what you want to achieve. So example, I will give you a very good example is, if you want to go active, okay, sometimes going in the on-prem infrastructure, going for active means you are catering from both the data centers. Sometimes it's very hard because it requires resources, it requires application things, those kind of things. uh, so if let's suppose you need to define your business goals, okay, what you want to achieve using the cloud. If you have goals like active, highly resilient, highly available, speed to the market. These are the, if these are your goals, definitely go to the cloud. Regulatory and the compliance thing. So yeah, as I said earlier, if you have some sort of compliance thing like HIPAA or PCI or PII or whatsoever, uh, or like source compliance and all, are these cloud, moving to the cloud, are you sufficing those compliance and the regulatory requirements? If it is no, then don't move. If it is yes, then definitely should move. Skill set and like culture. So I would say that since now the new set of engineers who are coming out of the colleges, they are really really sharp. Okay, and if you are giving them something to work upon on prem, which is slow, which is not scalable, the skill set, you are wasting the skill set, and you are missing the boat as well. So I think if you want to change the skill set for the people and the culture for the people, you should migrate towards the cloud. And also the very last thing, and which is very close to my heart, it is the downtime and the destruction requirements. So how much downtime, or if you know about recovery time objectives or recovery point objectives, kind of if what are your requirements, if your applications is, let's suppose, 4 nines, it means you can just only have a 4 minute of downtime per month. And if you are seeing that it is going way more than that within the on-prem environment, you should move towards the cloud. And I will talk about this thing into the slides as well, but these are the key consideration you should do before moving to the cloud. Benefits, again, uh, it can be a redundant thing, but I just want to call it out. Scalability, as I said, it is an infinite scalability thing. Although I'm not a big fan of doing the auto scaling. There's something called auto scaling. uh, when I do the development, I making sure that the auto scaling is enabled, but not at the very high level. I do the performance engineering first, define the parts first, and then go from there. So I think leveraging scalability is one of the benefit. Flexibility, definitely you can move from one database to like another. You can go from one managed service to like another. So that is the benefit. Collaboration is something which I have seen it's my personal experience. I have seen earlier, when people working into the infrastructure like owned by someone else, the collaboration is not there. With the cloud, you get the large collaboration, because now you are owning the whole cloud instance. You understand how the infrastructure is working, how you understand how the other teams are working with you. And it will create a really a great culture altogether when you move to cloud. Improve disaster recovery, that is something I believe you all have experienced some time back, when this cloud strike issue has happened, and the people who have done the really a great disaster recovery exercise are saved. But the I have seen some of my other teammates from the other companies. They are miserably down. They were down for 3 days because they were using on-prem infrastructure, and they don't even know what to do because it got affected everyone, right, at every data center. So in order to have a improved disaster recovery, cloud migration is the key. And optimize performance. So the something like a performance wide, I believe it has a really good compute. Cloud has a really good computing power. As I said, you can do the HPA, or like or I would say vertical scaling versus the horizontal scaling. You can do in the cloud. You can really easily spin off any of the containers or any of the resources, just a click away. So the performance is definitely going to improve, and that's what I have done in my projects as well. Okay. So far, let me see, I haven't seen the questions. Oh, Okay, I have seen some questions here, but I will answer it uh, afterwards. Okay, thank you. So now we need to understand what are the phases of the cloud migration. And again, we if you are not planning it well, what would happen? You are going to get bombardment from your business teams, from your customer, from your senior management as well. So I think this is a very crucial step into the cloud migration. First one is assessment phase. As I said earlier, you need to assess your current infrastructure and something called target state architecture. So what you need to do here is you need to take the current infrastructure, then you make it as a future or target state. So let's suppose you are using Kubernetes environment. You need to make sure that if you are going to AWS, how it will be deployed under EKS, or if you are going to Azure, how it is going to deploy under AKS. Such kind of assessment you need to do, especially with the firewalls, especially with the network security group, especially with the storage as well. So this is a very crucial step where a lot of brainstorming is required with infrastructure, with the current teams, and making sure you are creating a robust target state architecture. Then you come to a planning phase. So the planning phase would be, in my opinion, the planning phase should be, hey, I am going to take some of my tier 4 applications first and see the performance. Or I will take, if you are a compliant one, I will take a non HIPAA compliant applications first and see the performance. Or I will take non PCI applications first and see the performance. That will go into the planning phase. You also need to discuss with the business what kind of what kind of cloud you should be using. It should be go for the public cloud, you should go for the private cloud, which I am going to talk next phase, but or you should go for the hybrid cloud. Okay, or you should go for a multi cloud, because I am into a hybrid, I am into the multi cloud as well. And you should always discuss this thing with the architecture team, whether you should do a lift and shift, or you should do a replatforming, or you should do a re-architecturing. And these kind of things goes into the planning phase. Then one of the crucial step is basically POC and migration execution, where you are taking, as I said, you are taking tier 4 application which has maybe less customer or less business critical, and applying the 6R principle there, or maybe the custom approach to move towards the cloud. That is the phase which will tell you whether the performance is meeting the expectations, are like meeting with your business or not. And it will give you a timelines as well, because you cannot run this program for long, right? So it will say that, hey, for the tier 4 application it requires 4 sprint to move from on-prem to the cloud. So you can divide your applications and create a plan. Then you need to do a validation and like testing as well. Okay, like here the performance things basically come up. Like you, how many parts you want, how many servers you want, how many firewalls you require, how many uh, compute you want to have. These kind of things will come here. And optimization and handover, that is something you are giving back to the teams and say, hey, these are the basic dashboards which I have created, these are the optimization charts which we have, these are the HPA settings, these are the horizontal horizontal scaling settings, these are the vertical scaling settings you can provide. And you can give to them and say, hey, now this is on this is onto the teams, where teams can start leveraging this thing. So these are the highly 5 phases where I have done the cloud migration. Okay, now coming to the strategies. So these are not the new strategies, but I am really a fan of the way AWS has done the cloud migration. Okay, and they have provided strategies. And in my opinion, I have done the starting three, okay, so far. So One thing is that it all depends upon the company's culture or the organizational culture, because sometimes organizations are like that hey, I just want to move towards the cloud. Okay, then it is a lift and shift culture. Okay, so you just take the application, whatever application you have, VM to VM, Kubernetes to Kubernetes, something like that. But I don't think so this is a very practical approach, but I will explain it, into the next slide. Then lift and reshape, I think most of the organizations are doing lift and reshape, where they are using some cloud capabilities. Then there's something called re-architect. And then the re-architect, you have to see, you are significantly modifying and redesigning your application. And I will touch base upon it when into the next slide as well, what I have done. Then replace, definitely you are going to replace from one service to another service. Then retire is a technique that okay, you don't want some of the applications. Okay, you can just do the retirement. And then last is the retain. You definitely want some applications to be into the current environment, which can be on prem, just to maintain the technological reasons, or the business things as well, maybe security, maybe compliance, whatsoever. So these are the 6R, or six R's, uh, tell by the AWS, and I have followed this one. Okay, you can go, I will share the screen, and you will go to the link as well. Let's go a bit, uh, dive into the 6R, or I would say demystifying 6Rs. What is rehost or lift and shift? It is kind of, I call it as a checkbox you want in your team, that hey, I want to go to the cloud. Okay, you can go to the cloud by using rehost. Okay, where you just take whatsoever in your on-prem environment, and you just deploy it into the any other's machine. Okay, the cloud machine, maybe a VM, or maybe Azure VM, or maybe AWS instances and all. In my opinion, not a great approach, but I'm not recommending, or this kind of thing. Some organizations do it. I don't actually. Then the re-platform. This is something I believe most of the 60 to 60% of organizations are doing a re-platform. What they are doing, lift and reshape. What does it mean? It means, as I said in the earlier section, you need to have your target state architecture, where you assess your current on-prem infrastructure, and then you are mapping whatever public cloud you are using, AWS, Azure, GCP, whatsoever. And then you are making changes. Example I can give you, I am using something called Kubernetes, which is a container based platform. And when I was going to AWS, I have done it using the EKS. So I have taken the EKS instance, and then I have taken my on-prem Kubernetes instances, and basically try to see what kind of namespaces I require, what kind of workload I require. That is something called the re-platform, or the or the reshape thing. The third one is re-architect. So the re-architect is something I have done in my previous organization, where I have taken a monolithic application. And again, first of all, re-architecture require a lot and lot of effort, and you require a business buy-in and the management, technology management buy-in as well. So in the re-architecture, what I did is I have taken the whole application, and then start using some of the principles like domain driven design. So I have taken the application, divide it into the domains, do the containerization, use the public cloud, and do the deployments. So this is a very comprehensive phase, or the comprehensive strategy, but it is a best in the class strategy in my opinion, where you are allowing allowing your teams to have a fully leverage about the cloud technology and their services. So let's suppose you are using MySQL, you can go and use any other cloud managed service. You are using, let's suppose, MongoDB, you can go and use Cosmos DB, something like that. Okay, so in my opinion, this is the best one of the best approach. and uh, and as I said, I have used domain driven design in order to do the re-architecture. Repurchase or replace, as I said earlier as well, the repurchase and replace is something you are just replacing the, the products. Sometimes I have seen people are going from one SaaS platform to like another. So some people are going, let's suppose observability platform. Some people are using Splunk, they just go to Dynatrace. Some people are using, APMs, like, okay, so they, you can change those things. That is called the repurchase or the replacement. Retire, I have done some of the, like, we during the re-architecture phase, you will get to know what are the components you need to retire from your IT assets. Sometimes firewall, sometimes applications itself. You see the application, say, hey, it has a very low traffic. Is it really required or not? Or can I component it, or can I club it with some other application? You can do in this way, and that is the retire one. And the retain one, as I said, it is required sometimes. And in most of the healthcare and the financial institution, they want to retain some of the application into the on-prem. Example, aka, could be your mainframes. No one wants to take the mainframes to the cloud because no one knows how to take it actually. So that's where they want to keep it on prem, and that is the retain strategy. Everyone, like most of the organizations, is following. Now coming to the point, like choosing the right deployment model. Let me see the time quickly. Okay. Let's choose the right deployment model. What are the deployment models we should be using here? So, as you all know, there are mostly the four deployment models: public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and multi cloud. So, what is the public cloud? Public cloud is nothing but you are just taking AWS or like Azure instances, and you are completely moving from your on-prem infrastructure to the public cloud infrastructure. Is it happening in the real world? Very less, but I have seen some of the great organizations did it. uh, Private cloud, private cloud is something you are leveraging the cloud capabilities, but in a bit restrictive manner, where you can control the control the security and restrict the data and regulatory compliance. So what you do, you just basically spin off private cloud infrastructure. uh, you can call it, sometimes they call it PaaS services. If anyone know about Cloud Foundry or like Pivotal Cloud Foundry, they used to do the PaaS services. That can be considered as the private cloud. uh, Hybrid cloud, I think hybrid cloud is something, I would say it is a more real thing, at least into the industries where I was the part of. Because you want to do you want to leverage the capabilities of the cloud, but you also want to maintain your on-prem infrastructure for some of the critical applications. Okay, just like I have given the example of the mainframes, right? No one wants to go into the no one wants to take that type of data into the cloud, uh, where if some issues happen, they are screwed, right? So they just want to make sure that they are maintaining the disaster recovery as well. Just like we have seen again the example of Azure outage, right? uh, if like if your on-prem infrastructure is screwed because of the update, at least your cloud is working. But if your cloud has been screwed, let's suppose, then at least your on-prem is like working. So kind of that approach, most of the organizations who are which are highly regulated are like following the hybrid cloud. And the multi-cloud environment, I am also using the multi-cloud environment, and depending upon the use cases as well, because sometimes you are getting a good service from one of the public cloud, but you are getting another good service from another cloud. Okay, example could be, some of the organizations I have seen that their whole uh, customer care platform is on one particular cloud, and that is intentional, by the way. and the other the servicing part or the back end part, or you can say application development is in another cloud. Their data strategy is in another cloud. So example could be your public, your 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 customer care platform could be in AWS, but your application development could be in Azure, but your data strategy part could be in GCP. So you are just balancing it out, uh, and making your environment better. So in my opinion, these two, hybrid cloud and the multi-cloud environments, mostly are the organizations are like using. Uh, and so far they are successful. And with the multi-cloud, as I have mentioned here, you are not going with the vendor lock-in thing. So that is there. There are some disadvantage using the multi-cloud because of the back and forth calls happening, but if you are putting a right VPN or the Azure Direct Connect or those kind of things, it should be working good. Okay. What are the consideration of choosing the right deployment model? How you are going to, how you are going to choose, like, okay, which one you should be using, right? So these are some of the points which I have considered in my journey. What the business needs and goals, as I said, what is our business need? Okay, we want to go speed in the market is our goal, or active is our goal. What is our goal? Okay. uh, Workload requirements, what kind of workloads we require? Is it a highly available five nines kind of application, or it is a 3 9 application? Okay, so it all depends upon the workload requirements. What is the performance you want? Cost, I think everyone aware about the cost. So how is the cost, like, what what is the cost we are doing? Okay, I can give you one of a good example. Here in USA, most of the time, the paychecks are paid every Friday. And sometimes what happen, paychecks are like on like Fridays, and that is also first. Okay, so you can see the immense amount of load coming to the infrastructure, right? Where what will happen is, you are getting the salary or the paycheck from your employer, you are sending your mortgage, you are sending your bill. So there are multiple transactions happening on that particular day. In order to, and sometimes, infrastructure just not able to cater these kind of requests. At that moment, you start thinking that, hey, if I can have a scalable thing, on demand thing, that would be better, and the cost as well. So I think, if you are making, if you have a, uh, you should always consider the cost implications as well, in order to choose the right deployment model. Again, compliance and security, nothing to say here. If it is a, if you are in a highly compliant industry, maybe you are working in some sort of government thing. Okay, and security and compliance is like at most for you, you can use something called you know a separate instance for the cloud, where it will locked in kind of thing. And the expertise and management, I have seen this thing as, again, coming to the example. Sometimes I have seen that now the expertise is not even there, okay, with the team. So if you think that, okay, your teams are not there yet to understand how the cloud works, maybe you will fall flat. So at that time, firstly, you need to assess your team's expertise first. Okay, is it are they okay with some sort of cloud thing? Then you can go with the private cloud. You think, hey, they are really great, then you should go with the multi-cloud environment. This is something out of the context, but I want to tell you something about the architectural pattern which I have followed during my cloud migration. Okay, this is something called a strangler fig pattern. So it is a strangler fig pattern. If you guys may know, what I'm doing in this pattern is, or the way I am doing it is basically, You are creating a new instance, a cloud instance, and now you are strangulating your on-prem instance. What does it mean? You are sending less and less requests to the on-prem instance, and more requests to the cloud instance. And at some time, when you see that, hey, your cloud instance is working totally fine without any issues, you can then strangulate your your on-prem infrastructure and completely into the cloud. Mostly it happens when you are 15%, or sorry, 85% done into the cloud. That's what the change happens. That's what I have done actually. So it's a that's what the strangler pattern means. The circuit breaker pattern, you may know about it. You should always create a circuit breaker pattern, so that, and it is mostly allowed into the hybrid cloud as well as to the multi-cloud environment. So if that service is not working for initial amount of time, I would say 6 months, then you circuit break it into the cloud, and it will the request will go to the on-prem infrastructure, or like vice versa as well. So that is one of the pattern I have used. And then I have used the choreography design pattern, which is nothing but a event based modeling. So that is where I have designed, as I have told you earlier, I have divided the things into the domain driven design. And with the domain driven design, I have used something called anti corruption layer, the event bus kind of infrastructure, where my cloud applications are working mostly onto the choreography design patterns, so that it is more modular and more manageable as well. Let me see the time check. Okay. I want to give you guys 10-15 minutes to talk to the questions as well. So now you may ask, hey Gaurav, you have discussed about these things. What are the tools and resources I should use for effective cloud migration? So some of the tools I can definitely tell you is the cloud cost management. Like you can use the AWS. Okay, you can use Azure cost management for doing the costing, that hey, how many pods are running, what is my compute cost. Okay, are you spending the things into the right manner or not? There is something called cloudability, or the third party tools as well. It will tell you, oh, you know, what are the recommendations. Okay, maybe you are getting less traffic here, maybe you can tear down some of the instances, and getting it and getting your application more optimized. So I think these are some of the good tools for the cloud management. Backup and disaster recovery, yeah, definitely you should use something like AWS backup, and or the Azure backup, to making sure that you have a really good data backup for you. There is something I am using, I have used, it's called you know uh, backups for like VM backup, or like Rubik's kind of thing. It will be doing the backup for both on-prem as well as cloud environment as well. So in case of disaster recovery, you are not losing the data. Cloud native re-architecturing, as I said earlier as well. If you are, let's suppose, into the cloud, Kubernetes environment, you can use something like AKS, or like EKS, which are giving you the same capability which Kubernetes is like giving you. You can also use something like a serverless framework like AWS Lambda, or like Azure Functions, to support more of the event driven thing. As I said earlier, in the choreography design pattern, I have used the serverless framework for doing the re-architecture. Governance tools, it is very much required. The governance tools, we can use AWS config or Azure policy, to making sure what are the compliance you have. You can define it. Let's suppose you are saying, hey, your 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 PII data, your name, your date of birth, or your SSN number should not be exposed, or should be masked. So these are the things you can define in your policies, and it will work accordingly. Something which is not a technology thing, but it is very much required is the project management tools, like something like Jira, or yeah, mostly Jira, mostly the Confluence and all, where or like Microsoft Teams or Slack, in order to maintain the collaboration and the project management as well. Technical trainings and certification resources, and this is something close to my heart, because I believe everyone who is going to the cloud environment should do some certification. I myself has been certified. So in order to understand how the nitty gritty, which tool to use, what are the functions need to be used, I think Microsoft has a really good open training platform. You should go and basically do that kind of training. But I think training the teams and continuously learning about the new features they are releasing is like paramount. There are some other public platform like Cloud Guru, Cloudera, Prayersite, or like Udemy. You can go there and basically do the knowledge gain as well. Okay, so till this time we have discussed about how to do cloud migration, what are the patterns we should use, what are the tools we should be using for the effective cloud migration. Now we are talking about the post migration strategy. Now it is very important to understand, once you migrate to cloud, what is the post migration strategy. Okay, you should be, so first of all, first and foremost, it's performance monitoring. I always see, and to be honest with you guys, I have seen some sort of degradation initially when you go to the cloud. Okay, you are seeing some sort of milliseconds are like not meeting your things. And how would you measure that thing? It's like App Dynamics, Dynatrace, Datadog, and you can see there that, hey, this is the problem I am getting, maybe the memory leak, and maybe I'm not utilizing the threads efficiently. Those kind of things you need to tweak within your performance monitoring. I have faced it firsthand, so I'm sharing it with you. The cost management, again, I have seen the cost goes initially really up because of the misconfigurations, and we haven't done the 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 due diligence. And then we have worked with Azure cost management. And also when I was working in like AWS, I was doing the AWS cost explorer, and try to understand that, hey, what are the things I should be using, what are the services I should be using, if I can retire those services, or I should not be using those services. That is the cost management is required. Security and compliance, you should be always looking for it, that okay, you are not exposing any kind of wrong data outside of your company premises. uh, One thing I would like everyone you to do are regular audits as well. Okay, so I believe guys should do, once you do the migration, you should do the audits as well, where in the audits you are ensuring that you are going with the organizational objective and the industry best practices. Okay, you are not in the cloud just for sake to be in the into the cloud. And one of the thing which I have done is, I not to try vendors. I am like not try to use the services, only the services provided by the cloud. I am using the different services. The example could be, for the performance monitoring, there is a something called CloudWatch in AWS. I am not using it. I am using Dynatrace, let's suppose. Okay, these kind of strategies you should be using in your regular audits as well. And the feedback loop, I think the feedback loop is very important from the business, technology, and the customer point of view. And you should always having a checkpoint monthly, initially monthly, and then quarterly, how we are doing as an organization or as a department when we move towards the cloud. I think that is one of the key thing, or I would say ROI, for you. Okay. Yeah, again, how would you manage the cloud infrastructure after the migration and the continuous improvement? So one of the thing which I have said earlier is the resource optimization. I have using something called KEDA, Kubernetes event driven auto scaling. You guys should always look for the optimized way of like resource optimization, because sometimes what happens, the traditional way of auto scaling is like not even working because you are using microservices, right? So based upon the CPU or based upon the memory, sometimes your pods will never auto scale, so you need to use something like event driven thing. uh, then the service management, okay, as I said, performance and the uptime. So if your requirement is uptime of like 5 nines and you are not able to get it, that is something you need to look for, okay. And you may, you as I said, that's where you can run into the hybrid cloud first, and then if you are getting everything, then you can completely move towards the public cloud. Disaster recovery, you are making ensuring that your recovery time objective or your recovery point objective is like achieving, because you don't want your data loss to be happen, or you don't want your application to doesn't come up within the time. Innovation, yeah, uh, adapt the new changes which are coming into the market, especially the AI thing, I would say. uh, uh, is like very important, and start using the the new things without like, again, the strategy should be use the tier 4 application, less traffic and all, and start doing the innovation before you are going towards your critical applications. And the skill development, yeah, so after the cloud infrastructure has been done, and you done the migration, you would start using the skill development for the people, maybe taking the courses, or maybe the higher level courses like a cloud practitioner, or the cloud architect role, or the certifications, in order to improve the skill sets as well. Okay, so far we have discussed about good things only, why it is required, how it is required, what are the patterns we should be using, what are the planning, what are the phases of the cloud migration, okay, kind of that thing. Now coming to the challenges, and I think these are the challenges which I have also faced, okay. The potential challenges which I have faced was data loss, okay. You should be, making sure that there is no data lost or corrupt during the transition, and it is very important, because when you are replatforming something from one platform to another, or even the same instance, the chances of data corruption happens, or data loss happens. So making sure that these are the things which are very paramount to you. Downtime, as I said, if you have a availability of defined as 5 nines or 4 nines, how you are making sure that the downtime is less. And that's where I think the hybrid cloud or the multi-cloud strategy works. uh, if you are using those strategies, I think you can mitigate the downtime. Security vulnerabilities, this is something you all are facing actually, because every time new security vulnerabilities are coming up, okay, sometimes it is not in the on prem, because you are not connected outside, but it may come up into the public one. So make a strategy using some sort of tools like um, like Fortify, or Nexus IQ, or those kind of tools you should be using frequently in order to recover from the security vulnerabilities. Cost overruns, I need not to explain this thing. It happens initially, but you should have a, that's why your cloud practitioner certification is important, so that you understand what are the where you need to spend the cost and where you can save the cost, kind of thing. And as I said, having a robust targeted architecture would help initially to you, that hey, what where my cost is basically going, is it going mostly into the compute, or mostly going into the infrastructure, where it is. And the technical compatibility issues, sometimes there are compatibility issues happening, so you may need to tweak your application. And that's why I said, uh, rehosting, if you remember about 6R, rehosting is not a very practical thing. Rehosting and re-architecting is the more practical approach once you do the cloud migration. So technical compatibility issues may arise, and you should be making sure that you are solving it within time. Strategy to overcome those challenges, uh, mostly the robust testing you require, and I would say, at least at least the 3 months of training if you have internal employees, which you can give those testing to your internal employees first, who could be your customers as well, and do the robust testing, partnering with the experts, working with the with 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 Azure people, or like AWS people would give you the right ROI. Making a skilled team, I don't need not to say, you have to have upskill the team as well, in order to do the in order to mitigate those challenges. Incremental migration is very important. You should making sure that you are doing, let's suppose, non PCI workloads first and then PCI workload, or non HIPAA workloads first and then HIPAA workloads. Kind of that incremental migration is important in order to overcome the challenges. And the planning, I need not to tell, but the planning is like that hey, firstly I will go with the API, or firstly I will go with the databases first, then I will go with the APIs, then I will go with the UI, something like that. It's all depend upon your organizational needs, how you are putting the planning. Let me see. I think we are at time. Oh, it's okay. So the future of cloud computing. This is the slide from Gartner. I just want to give everyone here that currently most of the organizations, it is a 1 year back, but cloud capability enabler right now. But by 2028, Gartner is supposedly like it will be a business need. Actually, it is a business necessity. Right now, it is driven by the technology that hey, I want to have better infrastructure, better resiliency, better availability. But by 2028, it will be a business need. Okay, so the business will be saying that hey, I would require my my capabilities to be into the cloud and to expand their digital footprint. Saying that, I am done here. I will come to the questionnaire here. Yeah, you can kindly let me know if you have questions right now. um,
Hey, Gaurav, really great session, first of all. And we have here some comments from Andrew, which is one of our colleagues that usually follows us and joins us on our call on channel and sessions. But apparently, we don't have any questions so far.
okay, okay.
Probably I would say if you have any question and if you want to take these minutes to just share your question, feel free. Otherwise, I guess Gaurav will be sharing his contact, so you can also reach out to him.
Yeah,
Um,
I can
um,
definitely put my comment, put my things there. Do join me over the LinkedIn, guys. Okay, so that I can meet you, all of you. Post the questions to me. Okay, I will be happy to answer whatever I can answer. Publicly, definitely.
okay, so we actually have a question from Andrew. He's pretty much just asking for if you have any tips, like the top three tips on how we can keep up to date about cloud and ensure that he is following the latest
Yeah,
and greatest.
so I will share my experience, what I did. Okay, I mostly go, I think the best thing to do is joining these AWS reinvent kind of things, okay, virtually sometimes.
Hmm.
Okay, or go to the blogs, like what are the new technologies they are bringing up. As I said yesterday, I was into a session. I was really relieved that the test data generation is happening through the AI. Okay, that is where we all need to be. We all need to see the opportunities to learn. The second thing is that I am the person who do the walk the talk, or the kind of thing. So take those free instances. Okay, if your company is not providing, you take those free AWS instances or like Azure instances and start playing with it. Okay, start deploying your RESTful application or like Python application and see how it is working. And the third thing is that read about re, read about the some of the design patterns which are required in order to migrate, because most of the times you are migrating your monolith to the microservices architecture being available into the cloud. So I think these three techniques, if you are following, going to those events, public events, uh, read about the things and having a practice, hand in hand, that would basically give you a longer, uh, a good way to move towards the cloud.
Hmm. Definitely, those are really great suggestions, and I would say even, of course, one of the common things is probably, Andrew, you already know about this, but certification. For example, I consider personally certification a great way for you to learn as well, because it's a guided process. So that means you don't need to be searching around the documentation trying to understand what are the next steps. You have everything guided,
Yep.
so you just focus on learning the content, and then at the end, if you want, you can do the exam to assess your own knowledge and
Yep.
get the certification, which is always a valid credential for you to for your job and for your profession. And the last but not least, when it comes to cloud, I would say don't forget that you have two great resource in different clouds available to you, which is first the well-architected framework and also the cloud adoption framework, which are pretty much two frameworks, as you know, built based on customers, many customers' stories and in practice lessons learned, and also the knowledge combined from the engineering teams behind these clouds. Because, as we know, Azure cloud provided by Microsoft. Of course, we have behind the scenes top engineer guys building the things and try and using these daily, including their customers and partners. So consequently, these frameworks provide you massive information. A lot of people miss that, but for example, on my daily basis, in my opinion, it's my go-to place to always check the existing architectures, try to understand, as Gaurav said, the design patterns, and try to pretty much get the lessons learned that are shared there, and the tips in order to for you to design as the best as possible. Of course,
Yep.
every design is different and every organization is different, so you
It's
need to
different.
adapt things. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. As I said earlier, that like I have using something called domain driven design powered by strangler pattern using the anti-corruption layer, so that I
Hmm.
can migrate the things from on-prem to the cloud seamlessly.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I, and again, the DevOps principle, you may know that DevOps is something like, you called it as, uh, uh,
Infrastructure as
like
code.
you blue green deployments or like canary
Hmm.
deployments, those are also going to help you.
Yeah, and even infrastructure as code. So anytime you need to do a disaster recovery or even fall back to the cloud from an on-premise environment, you can quickly use templates and spin up the environment quickly and then fall over and these kind of things. There
Yep.
are a lot to be honest. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
something that you can
As I
simplify
have
into
given
two
the
or three
example,
tips.
right? Yeah, as I've given the example, this Friday the first is the example, is the very, I have seen in my journey lot many times, because I don't know about other places, but in US, Friday is the payday, and sometimes it is first of the month, and then everything is like shattered. Okay,
Yeah,
some sort of issue would happen. Hey, 20% of our customers are not able to log in, or 20% of customers are not able to pay the bill, something like that happen. I
yeah.
think using the cloud will basically going to cover or mitigate such type of issues as well.
Hmm. Of course, of course. The most important thing I would say is, of course, we need to think carefully and design smart architectures to avoid customers face a common problem in the cloud, which is unexpected costs.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
it's the magic is everything is magic, and everything scales up and down and out and in and so on. But then when it comes at the end of the month, some customers are not happy about that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's why we employees we need to, of course, provide the best for the companies and the customers in terms of guidance to make
Agree.
smart decisions about this.
Totally
Because
agree.
scaling is not definitely the only option that you have there, and sometimes scaling doesn't even make sense.
No,
So
sometimes not. As I said, I am not a very much fan of about the auto scaling. I believe
yeah,
you should do, anyone should do a right performance testing and define the workloads accordingly rather than just put auto scaling. Hey, if my CPU goes this much, okay, auto scale that one, because that is not a really good cost saving strategy. I
yeah,
totally agree with you.
yeah. But sometimes, see, sometimes the scenarios, sometimes you have scenarios with unpredictable traffic, and you cannot, you know what I mean, you cannot do this kind of approach to try to predict the performance.
Agree.
One
Agree.
example of that is, for example, Black Friday, you know what I mean. So you can have an understanding about the previous years, about, for example, Amazon for Black
Hmm.
Friday. You can have an understanding about the volume of users, but nothing assures you that there is no a new spike during Black Friday this year, you know what I mean, or next year, and you need to be ready, you know what I mean. So that's why sometimes it's I think definitely it's a combination of different things, but not limited to one thing, not limited to
Yep.
auto scaling, not limited to as well bad designs. It's all about doing proper designs, and if you are doing proper designs, probably even if you have auto scaling there, of course you can control limits, as you know, but you may not have any surprise, because that means you are protected. You know what I mean? Because the design ensures that you don't have to unnecessarily scale your instance. You know. So
Yep. Well, yeah.
anyway, a really great
Thank,
session, Gaurav.
thank you,
I
bro.
really appreciate.
Thank you,
Thank you
Andrew.
very much for your opportunity to be here and share with us.
Sure.
Um, I would suggest, if you want, let me just I will drop quickly here. I think I have your LinkedIn here. I will drop in the chat if you are
Yeah.
happy to.
Yep. Yeah. Please. Please do
And
it.
and you can connect with Gaurav if you want.
Yeah.
And to follow up on this session, because we have a lot of people that actually usually watch these sessions in offline mode, because for example, we have many followers based in India, and at the
Right.
moment it's quite late. It's 11 p.m. there, so you know what I mean.
Right.
So some people probably will watch this session tomorrow, and if
Right.
that's the case, you have there the link to Gaurav's LinkedIn profile, so you can connect with him and raise any questions you may have or any comments related to this session.
Definitely.
And without further ado, I really I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for your time to be here, including Gaurav. Next week, we are going to have another great session. So, as usual, just follow, check on our website, codandchannellearn.com/weekly sessions. And pretty much, I hope to see you next week. And in the meantime, stay well and stay safe and take care.
Thank you,
Thank
Hugo.
you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the call. Thank you.